the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. There we go.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right, let's take a reflective moment of silence, please. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for coming tonight. Now is the time for audience business. Is there anyone in the room who'd like to address the board this evening? All these people, nobody with anything to say. How about online?
I don't see anyone.
All right, then I will close audience business and let's move on to staff reports. Sergeant Sears, Boulder County Sheriff's Office. Good evening.
Good evening. Not a whole lot tonight. Just want to pass on condolences to Jenny Hall's family. She passed away. She was the head co-responder. I had no idea, but I guess she's been battling some cancer, so that was made public last week, so. Just trying to get planning for summer busy time here in the parks and trying to come up with some other better ideas to get deputies to work extra duty, so. Other than that, just apologize I didn't get stats up to you guys last week. I was sick most of the week, so I did send them to Dolores. I sent to you guys just for you have a chance to look at them. Calls are up 91 from last time this year. This time last year, 728 so far. April's just under 100 calls. Tickets this year so far is 166. And then this year so far, we've had 2 vicious dog at large tickets, which basically is a dog that's at large that bites another dog or bites a person. It's considered a vicious dog at large. And then 3 first offense dog at large tickets. So I was actually down from last year. We had 6 left at this time last year. So animal control's out there. We're still, I haven't heard too many issues, but so far, from what we can see, people are keeping dogs on leashes, so that's good. We had our busiest weekend this last weekend for the town. We had just about 13,500 cars coming in town Saturday and Sunday. Accidents, we had a bad month. We've had 14 so far this year. And this time last year, we only had 4.
Wow.
So we had probably 5 or 6 in the last week and a half. The only minor one or minor injury one was last week on Main and Park. Remained second essentially. It's a 4-car. Basically someone stopped for the crosswalk and someone didn't see it and crashed into one car, crashed into another car, they hit another car. So, but most of them were just minor, backing and parking spots, stuff like that. So, that's about it, really.
I know you have questions for Sergeant Sears.
And I want to thank you so much for the new format.
Yeah.
I feel like I really like the tabs. I like that everything is clearly labeled.
I'm playing around with that new system. I'm just haven't figured it out, but it showed, so like April, so far this month, the Lions has had 5% of all the calls that the county is, so in the whole county. So that doesn't include like Longmont or Boulder or anything, but things like that, I'm just still trying to figure it out. So, but anyway, sorry.
No, that's fine. I just, I was looking at the tab regarding accidents actually. And I wasn't surprised, unfortunately, to see that 2 of the accidents that happened in March 7th and March 28th, were people failing to drive in their lane as they're making that turn at the intersection of 5th and Broadway. So, I've been emailing staff today to just see what can we do for restriping that area, because I feel like every time I'm near that corner, every single time even if it's 5 minutes, I hear somebody honk.
I
And
heard
it's
all day.
always that outer lane that's honking because they're afraid of that inner car, basically drifting.
Yeah,
And I feel like when they're at a red light and they're just taking off, they're going slowly enough that they can stay in their lane. But when I feel like it's a green light and they're literally just coming down the mountain, coming through that, they're taking that corner so quickly that they drift. And that car beside them gets, and they honk to let them know, hey, there's a car here.
yeah, and if, I always take that number one lane when I'm turning there,
Yeah.
or if I'm in the second, number two lane, I slow and let that car get in front of me, because people, like, it happens to me almost, I'm not in my patrol car, but, I know Bill worked on everything you can do other than striking it, but it'd be nice to put in like those rubber ones, but then you gotta I know the big semis and stuff. But for the longest time during construction, they only had it to one lane,
Right.
and the semis and stuff were able to get through, so it's gotta be something, because there's, especially now they have those parked cars there, people are gonna be swerving and smashing into them.
When you said there was already a parked car that was hit.
We had a meeting just today with CDOT on the corner. So they, the little dashes, they're not full stripes.
Mhm.
You'll learn a new CDOT term today, turkey tracks. The turkey tracks do not go all the way around the corner.
Right.
And so
Right.
they had said, we requested that prior to Memorial Day, that those all get repainted. And to try to better mask the previous scars from where the lines used to be, because that's confusing too, but our resident engineer he said delineators, they can only work partially because traffic is still going north.
Right.
And so that will confuse people even more. He said they'll really drift if they stop. So they're gonna look at it and try to come up with a better solution prior to Memorial Day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I think that's straight. I think just people being able to see that striping that just delineates the two lanes. I don't think people realize there are two lanes as there.
Well, we even talked about why couldn't he do two solid lines?
Mhm.
Like,
That's
you know,
what I
Turn is yellow.
But he said it has to do with Highway 7 traffic going north onto 36. You don't cross two double lines, so they're gonna look at it.
Great. Thank you for having that
You're
meeting.
welcome.
Because
Yeah.
that jumped out at me. I was like, oh boy. And I can tell after Memorial Day, it's just going to get worse.
Oh, yeah, it always does, but it has been that way forever. It's
Right.
not just since the
Right,
new
right.
construction.
Well, instead
No.
of filling all the potholes too, that was on my list, but I was like, oh, yeah, they got
them
they're
done.
getting pretty bad. so.
Yeah. Nice work. Other questions for Sergeant Sears? Okay, thank you very
All
much.
right, thanks.
Stay safe out there.
All right.
Okay, administrator report, please.
Thank you. I actually, unfortunately, on your last meeting, sorry about this, but my report's rather lengthy tonight. So if, I will just hit very highlights, and if you want more information, you can ask or read my report. But sticking with the dog theme that Sergeant Sears was talking about, April is our discount dog days for getting your dog licensed. And that is a requirement within our town limits, so I want to make sure people know that. But you can come in and get at a reduced rate right now, so that if your dog does get out of your yard or away from you, they'll come here before they go to a shelter usually. And it saves a lot of stress on the dog and the human if you don't have to go there. The municipal election, of course, was the highlight over the last couple of weeks, and the results have been posted and attached. I'm not going to go through those tonight, but they're certainly available if someone needs to see that. We were notified that Senate Bill 22-238 and 23B001, which is a property tax revenue backfill payment from 2 years ago, is going to be issued to each of the different taxing entities throughout the state. Our portion of that will be $53,294. So that is money we were not necessarily anticipating at this time, so we'll be able to have a discussion about how you want to use that. But since it is out of property tax, it should be going back to the general fund. The wind event that we had I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. We were very fortunate. Our infrastructure held up very, very well. However, we do want to hear from the board if you want us to spend some time looking at the pros and cons of de-energizing prior to such an event or not. At this point, we do not, mostly because we have two other electric companies that run right down our main street. So even if we did it, we have power coming through town. So, but certainly if that's something the board wants to look at, we could bring it up during, trustee reports. Earth Day is coming around the corner, April 21st and the 22nd. There are several events going on in town, so we would like people to become familiar with that and join in. So lots going on there, including next week or this week. We also have the new opening of the two art shows at the library and town hall. There'll be a meet the artists this Wednesday night from 5:30 to 7. And then on Saturday, the 26th, Lions Valley Townhomes is having their grand opening celebration, inviting the community as well. On the 27th, we are working with Boulder County Wildfire Partners and the Fire Protection District to offer a tree limb drop-off event. And that's for anyone in the district, not just in town. Let's see. And then I did want to mention that the staff is interested in submitting the next round of revitalizing Main Street grants. The current seated board will remember that's how we paid for the ambient lighting on Main Street. This is the same grant. They're interested in doing the same thing on Broadway for us. And also helping with some of our cost of manufacturing the new wayfinding signs. So there would be a $25,000 match. And we have asked Boulder County for more in our economic vitality grant they give us every year. They've given us $9,000 every year for like over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Inflation. I know. So we went ahead and asked for all 25,000 this year. We'll see if they'll cover it for us. And of course, CEMEX news that Boulder County has terminated their use on that property, and now there is a period for them to file an appeal to that. And then lots of Parks and Public Works updates this month with spring here. The river exit signs are being installed, the dam warning sign, and the buoys would not work with the amount of fluctuation our river has. So we went with the next best option. And so all of those are being installed. Currently, the posts are already in, getting ready for the signs. The Second Avenue dry camping sites are going in as well this week. And the jumps, our park hosts over at Bone Park have returned. They're gonna be here a few days and then they're leaving before they are situated for the entire summer. But so that we will now they will be the overseers of that dry camping. And alleys are being graded and getting ready for the goats to come back to do natural fuel mitigation on dry grasses. And the aeration on the pond should be kicking up here as well. So we have lots going on in the spring, and don't know if anyone has any questions right now they want.
Questions.
Go ahead.
Not so much a question, but I did notice that after that windstorm, there is a tree that is fallen quite a distance out into the river. And I'm just concerned with the water rising, people floating. It looks like it's really pretty dangerous.
Sure. The park staff have been along the river.
Great.
There are a lot of trees down in Laverne Johnson on the far side. Those all belong to Boulder County. And they've been made aware that we would like those removed sooner than later. The ones along the rest of the river, if it's adjacent to public property, The park staff certainly already have it inventory and probably are planning for
Okay.
it. And Dave is on
I
the
don't know if it's on,
private or
if
public.
that's private or public, if that's actually a ditch strip.
Could be that too.
It's kind of across from where the church is, over the pond, then the river, and there it is. It's got that, there's a strip of land in the middle.
Yeah, it's called, we call it the Beaver Island.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be supply ditch or it could be ours, but I'm sure Dave will have it on his radar now if
That'd be
he
great.
doesn't already.
Because I'm ready to get in the water soon, so.
Okay, great.
See you later. Questions, go ahead.
I have a couple of questions. One is regarding, the wind event. I realize we're gonna come back and discuss, policy around de-energizing, or if we wanna have that discussion. But I think what I'm most concerned about are the piles of limbs that I see everywhere, and I realize there's an organized drop-off at the Public Works Building on April 27th. I realize there's a county chipping program. But what I wanna bring, to the public's attention is what to do if they need help getting those limbs to the Public Works Building. Do we have, the only assistance I can think of is Lions Volunteers. Have we thought about, or have we discussed how we could help residents who don't necessarily have like a pickup truck or a trailer or something to haul these limbs?
A
We haven't discussed it.
limb pickup.
Yeah, well, we've discussed doing a limb pickup and shipping event, and we'll discuss that. I think
They're
next
getting
meeting.
bids on it right now.
Getting bids on it now. So for people who can't manage to get
Mhm.
to that shipping
Mhm.
event,
Mhm.
they'll be taken care
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I just wanted to address that for residents who might have a difficult time getting the limbs to the Public Works Building on April 27th.
Mhm.
And the other thing I noticed, that you mentioned in your, report here was the alleyways and how they're going to be graded. And that made me think about the naming of the alleyways that our previous town planner had brought up.
Yep.
And I thought, I really liked that idea then, and I wonder, I know the Fire Protection District is planning on doing what's it called? There's an acronym. CCPW or
Oh, CCWP.
CCWP, and that's in the coming year, right? I'm just wondering if that's gonna be a part of their plan so that they know how to find those addresses.
When we talked about this previously, we needed to look at the other unintended consequences of, for example, people's mortgages or billing if we just change a street address. So it's a little bit more complex than that, but.
But
it's
we
a
do
good
have,
question.
we had this student, the third grade students all gave us their top names for renaming the
Oh,
alleys. We
cool.
have that.
Cool.
And then it was gonna go to the Student Advisory Council, and then they have not met.
I see.
So we were waiting for school and there has not been a full group there, so. But we can certainly pick that up again. I think it just was not, it just kind of dropped by without getting that student input.
Yeah, I think it's just the response that, like, I just think now would be the perfect time if they're reviewing that CCWP.
Yeah.
The CCWP, I don't know if that's something they're going to address, but I feel like it's more of a safety issue. I know it's gonna be deliberation.
Yeah,
For sure.
delivery and things.
CWP.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
That won't be part of the CWP.
it won't be.
Not that I can see, right? That's the community wildfire. But they're really looking at wildfire coming in.
Oh, I see.
I can bring it up and ask them. We have our first meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Do you have other questions?
Trustee Williams, do you have any questions? No, okay. Clerk Fescus, could you tilt the screen in? Sure. Just a little bit. Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much.
And legal update, please.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, Mayor Rogan. So the big update is that House Bill 24-1007 was signed into law today. This is the occupancy limit law we talked about in the past. There were some minor last minute changes to it, taking out explicit references to occupancy limits based on square footages. So now it's just based on, you can't do an occupancy limit based on familiar relationships that we have in ordinance. There are exceptions for the International Building Code, International Fire Code, other publicly adopted safety codes. So there may be some room for occupancy limits. What is very clear is the family related occupancy limits are no longer enforceable. Now, this bill does go into effect on July 1st. And so we'll be needing to update our occupancy code before then. I'm sure there'll be lots of CML guidance very soon on how to do this, what might be a way to get around this problem. But it certainly has changed from the law that's been the law of the land in the past.
Thank you. Any questions for Attorney Dittman? Okay, thanks. All right, we have no ordinances or public hearings tonight. So Clerk Vasquez, would you please read consent into the record?
Absolutely. Item 1 is resolution 2024-37, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving a lease agreement with Deer Credit Incorporated for the lease of a 320 P-tier backhoe loader for Parks and Public Works. Item 2 is resolution 2024-38, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving the third amendment to the 2021 professional services agreement for installation and maintenance of seasonal landscape services with CoCal Landscape Services Incorporated. Item 3 is resolution 2024-39, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving a contract with Iron Spear Protection Group for Lyons area parks. Item 4 is resolution 2024-40, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving the third amendment to the professional services agreement with Roxall Consulting Group Incorporated for the US 36/Broadway improvements and multimodal trail project. Item 5 are the April 1st, 2024 regular Board of Trustees meeting minutes, and item 6 are the April accounts payable.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anything anyone would like to pull from consent tonight?
Can I pull 2024-38?
Item 2?
Item 2, yeah.
Yep. Anyone else? Then we'll vote on consent as submitted.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Trustee Dominic, go ahead.
So here it says the contract would be for $129,000. And could it be cheaper to hire a couple seasonal employees to do that full time and
Yeah.
do the same thing?
Dave Cosgrove is here. That's a cumulative number over 3 years.
Oh,
Director
Go ahead.
Cosgrove, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. We did have this question earlier today as well. And the contract is actually an amendment. It's a third amendment. So for this year, it's the numbers are in line with previous years. It's actually, if you look at the exhibit, the number is $34,000 for this year, which is in line with previous years. It's the $129,000 since it's an amendment. This is CoCal, who has done it in previous years, is total for the 3 years, I think, is what it's been that they have been doing it.
Does that answer your question?
yep.
Okay, would you like to make I'm sorry, go ahead.
And just to add to that, it is not just the labor. This is also all of the plantings for all of the parks, all of Main Street as well. So, and the maintenance of it every week.
Correct, yes.
Would you like to make a motion?
To approve it as it is. I move to approve. Let's see. Resolution 2024-38, resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving the third amendment to the 2021 professional services agreement for installation and maintenance of seasonal landscape services with CoCal Landscape Services, Inc. And to approve that.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, it is my great pleasure to appoint, is it Gillian or Jillian Pierce to the Ecology Advisory Board? And Kristen, ripe fruits to the Parks and Rec Commission. Thank you both very, very much. Okay, we will move on to general business. We have one item tonight. It is discussion direction on depot landscaping. Can we have a staff report, please?
Sure. And Director Cosgrove is here this evening to address that or any questions you might have.
Yes, good evening. This is discussion direction to staff. With the Broadway project now in full swing, one of the elements of that project was to reroute the main line that feeds irrigation to Sandstone Park. And as many of you may know, we have been trying to redo the landscape at the depot for several years now. And in 2022, we actually had that budgeted for $75,000, and $50,000 was reallocated to the Broadway project. And in speaking with project manager Tracy Sanders, it appears that that project will be within budget, and actually from the funds that we had set aside, or that the board at that time had set aside several different amounts from different areas in the budget to help fund the Broadway project. It looks like that money may not be needed. Staff has started working on a bid package for the depot grounds, and from the quantities we have and the bid package we've put together, it looks like it might be somewhere between $55,000 and $75,000 needed to do that. The initial package we've put together for the depot is just to do the overlot grading needed to remove the top 2 inches of basically weeds and debris that is on the ground still from the flood, and then import some amended topsoil, and then put in irrigation, which was destroyed from the flood, and then reseed it, and then put in about 10 new trees. That would get us back to a place where any detailed landscaping or landscape beds could be done at a later time. We were just hoping to get some direction from the board as to whether or not that would be something they would want to do now, or hold off still a little bit. It looks like the Broadway project right now is going to be on budget, perhaps even a little under budget, and that would be something we could consider.
Thank you. Questions for Director Cosgrove? Go ahead.
So I was kind of curious, is that lot considered municipal or parks?
It is municipal. It is a municipal lot that has a national historic covenant on it. So anything we do has to be approved by, actually, it's a state historic society that approved the Laverne statue. Or if we decide we want to take up, because I'd like to see the sidewalk, it's a historic sidewalk, the sandstone sidewalk that leads up to it, have it replaced. That will all take approval by the State Historic Society.
Interesting. Okay. So I have thoughts, but I'll wait till, I guess, discussion, or no, we're not doing a resolution.
Yeah,
So,
there's no resolution.
right. So I have an opinion. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to note, as of right now, all of the plans that we've put together note that all of the hardscape has to be protected in place. So all we would be, for this bid package, all we would be doing is just the grounds themselves, just to put in the irrigation and then get it seeded and replace several of the trees which have died off over there. So that is what we are suggesting to address right now in this initial phase.
And it won't be sod or Kentucky bluegrass. It's going to,
Correct.
if you
Yeah.
choose to move forward, we've actually have some historians have looked at the historic native mix that was on that site that we could put back.
So that's kind of more in line what I was hoping for, and I was gonna just suggest, I think it would be a wonderful place to actually put in a more xeric landscaping, if that could, you know, with all native plants, could lend to still approval with the State Historic Society. But I think that we really have a wonderful opportunity to have an area that we don't need as much water, although I think having the irrigation there is important. But perhaps instead of seeding, perhaps it could be more of the hardscape. And then you could put in the native plants when you have a real design. So just a thought.
And I guess one more note that I did leave out that is important is that that main line from Laverne Johnson Park to Sandstone also allows us to tap into our shares of the Lions Ditch and water it with non-potable water. So that is helpful as well.
Anyone else? What does timing look like with this and the Laverne Johnson sculpture, and how does that all work together?
Actually, if the board gives us direction to use some of the unspent Broadway funds, we can get started on this right away and hopefully have this completed prior to their dedication. The grass won't be very big by then, but the irrigation's being put in right now. And then the rest is, like Dave said, is coming in, grading, bringing in new topsoil, seeding, and getting it watered. If that's what we do, yeah.
Okay. All right, so what do we think, Trustee Williams? Your thoughts?
I would like to see us do it as quickly as possible, but I'm also very, very committed to xeriscaping when it's possible. And I would think that that would in fact be in line with historical, since pretty much all of that is historical. So what kind of a time frame would we be talking about if we were going back to look at xeriscaping it instead?
I think my understanding would be that they still would want to have a base down, and then we could look at adding native plants in a more planned fashion, put it that way. You know, if you want big lavender or Russian sage around the building, that could come, you know, the summer or later. Again, it all kind of depends on what kind of a budget, if you want to spend this on it or not, or if we'll have to budget the plantings for next year. If you recall, Northern Water offered us $20,000 of landscaping money if we did low water use plants. So I think once they want to see us make some progress on this. So if we can get this piece done, I think we can go back to them and work with them on more, instead of just native fields of whatever, it would be beds of native plants.
Trustee Williams?
Yeah, then I'm actually good with using the Broadway funds that are left over and going ahead and moving on it now. I just want to make sure that anything that is town related when possible, we're looking at xeriscaping going forward.
Thank you. Trustee John?
I agree with the xeriscaping. Move forward with that.
Okay.
Agree. The only other question I had is, with it being municipal, then you can't access Conservation Trust funds for this.
Sure, we can.
Can you?
Sure.
For a municipal project? So I would recommend perhaps doing that, because this is something that property really has been neglected for 10 years. And so I think it'd be a wonderful project to have completed. And so I would recommend that be another source to consider, to be able to really do this well, you know, timely, not having delays. You know, and it could be beautiful.
Let's do that.
I have a question regarding the Northern Water funding. So when you said $20,000 for low water usage plants, does that include trees? Or is
Uh,
it just?
no, they want to highlight, projects around the northern Colorado district that can be beautiful gardens using
Right.
low water.
Right, so I
The
guess.
trees are already covered in this budgeted.
Okay, and do we know what kind of trees these are, or if they're like low water usage trees or?
We have not selected the tree types yet. We were going to work with the ecology board and Ron Gosnell has a lot of history with the depot and the trees that were on the depot. And we wanted to reach out with him to him as well. Right now, the way we have it on the plans is just that there would be a minimum of 10 trees because that is roughly how many have been lost in that area since the flood.
Right,
And
yeah.
there would be a selection of deciduous and conifer trees that would be replaced.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention because I had no idea that we had lost 10 trees.
yeah.
And I feel like this is another flood recovery project, actually. So I'm glad you're consulting with the ecology board and that we're respecting the historical,
And just to remind the board, FEMA doesn't pay for grass or any type of land. So that's why this has not been done this whole time, but it was budgeted, but always went to other infrastructure projects first. So FEMA does not cover replacement of grasses in all of our parks. That was on us.
So we think that between the 55 and 75,000 estimated cost of the project, we think that 20,000 of that can be covered by the grant.
Well, we can apply for it again. They awarded it once. I think
Okay.
they would again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think we have to move forward. Mhm.
Trustee Acid?
I agree. I think it's a great idea to work with the Eco Advisory Board to help pick what trees go there.
Yeah, and I agree, and Mayor Pro Tem just poked me on the arm here and suggested also working with Rocky Mountain Botanical Gardens to help, so between them and the Ecology Advisory Board and the staff knowledge, I think something really beautiful. It's exciting. Okay, great. All right, let's move on to trustee reports. I'm gonna start with you, trustee Williams.
I have nothing for this evening.
Trustee Delman.
So the Parks and Rec, they discussed about getting the pickleball courts. They're looking for painting of the tennis courts so that
Yeah.
they can get 4 courts on there. And we talked about May 18th, spring cleanup you can drop off paint, etc. And I think that's at the Public Works. I'm not 100% sure.
But no trash, not regular trash.
Correct.
It's just spring.
And then also April 30th at the library is bike feasibility study for the trail going between Lyons and Boulder on 36, which I think is important for people to come and show support for. And that's everything.
All right. Great. We had a discussion, maybe it was last year, about the pickleball painting. Where are we with that?
Sure, yeah. Dave, just recently met with the bidders on it
Okay.
and with the pickleballers.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Can you give us a pickleball update?
Yeah, be happy to. Earlier this year, I met with several vendors. And actually at the end of last year, but I met with them again earlier this year, and the apparent lowest bidder on that suggested an orientation of the courts one way, but wanted to bring it to the PRC and invite the pickleball group or the most avid of the pickleball group. And they had a different suggestion on the way they would like to see them. And so we will be meeting again with the vendor and have them take a look and just look at the spatial requirements. And we'll be meeting again. And then also we'll be allowing the pickleball group to weigh in on color schemes as well. But it will be moving forward. They're a little backed up. It looks like that will probably be taking place sometime in June or July.
Great. Thank you for the update. Glad that's moving forward. Yep. Okay, would you like to go next? Would you like to go? Yeah. Okay, trustee Dati.
Oh, yes. So, do I get to take trustee Williams' time as well? Because
No.
it's kind of, it's a little
Remember,
lengthy.
you have another one in the next meeting tonight. too.
Oh, so you want me to divide it up?
Well, I mean, that's up to you.
Okay.
I think a gender request would be would be the
Sure,
income. Yeah.
sure. Okay, well, I have everything here. Okay, so first I'd like to start with an update from the Housing and Human Services Commission, who met on April 8th. You may or may not know that grand opening is planned for April 26th at 11 a.m. It's a Friday morning. I encourage all to attend who can. This is very exciting news. About 36 of the 40 units are occupied. There are about 2 applications under review now, but it's my understanding that the hope is for all units to be filled in time for this grand opening. Because there's a little bit of pressure here. We have Lieutenant Governor Diane Primavera coming and members of Congress and other state and local dignitaries. So I think they would like to have all units filled. And I think this would be a good opportunity. If you haven't seen inside of one of the single family homes or inside one of the townhomes, now would be a good opportunity to do that. So that's very exciting. Also, the Get Help Guide, which is a resource guide, is in the process of being updated by different commissioners, divvying up that task. It sounds like we discussed a survey that a subcommittee of the PCDC is doing to determine needs for, I guess, employers' needs for employee housing. So just kind of revisiting that. Also revisiting the number of registered short-term rentals and licensed ADUs. So that's a subcommittee of the PCDC, but that was brought up at the Housing and Human Services Commission. I think the emergency backpack idea for seniors is still looking for funding, and they're looking towards LCF for possible funding there. And it sounds like the Boulder County Area Agency on Aging is planning a resource fair this summer like they did last year, geared towards seniors. And in case you didn't know, Amy Schaffner, who is our local representative, is available at the library on Tuesdays from 1:30 to 3. So if you have any questions for her, that is her window of opportunity. We still have 1 vacancy on that commission if you're interested in Housing and Human Services. And then I just wanted to give an update on the Arts and Humanities Commission. So on April 9th, the following day, the Arts and Humanities Commission met, and I had never attended one of their meetings, so I was very impressed with the number of projects that they undertake. I don't know if it's just that meeting or this season, but wow. Is it always this? Okay, wow. So yeah, okay, so there will always be a long trustee report for Arts and Humanities because they're just rocking. And it was great. We had a local artist show up to present some of his 360-degree panoramic landscape photos that could possibly be printed on fabric and maybe attached to fencing. So there was a whole discussion there around cedar fencing, since Moss Rock has agreed to spend $35,000 on a cedar fence going all around that property where the hotel is going to be built one day. And so that would make it very sturdy, and especially in wind events, you have something attached to that. So of course, the discussion led to the other corner of Main Street at 4th and Main. And is it possible to, present the idea of maybe more permanent fencing, like not permanent, but more stable fencing, like cedar fencing, to that owner, I believe is Paul Tamburello. So there was a lot of discussion around cedar fencing and how they could make it like a temporary art gallery, so that this summer, when people are walking by, they're actually seeing artwork as opposed to, a construction site or an empty space. So that was exciting. It looks like some of our staff liaison and the chair will be attending the CCI conference in Pueblo in May. I think that's Colorado Creative Industries, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of talk about sculptures. I don't know if you guys saw the new sculpture, The Soaring Bird by John King, over here by the orchard, right by the orchard there. And that is apparently wind resistant. It can sustain, I think was a gust of 160. I don't know. They were watching it very carefully, and it totally made its way through the wind event. We talked about the sculpture, the Laverne Johnson sculpture that's going to be placed here at the depot. It sounds like they still need to raise about $40,000, but there's going to be like a kickoff campaign on May 1st when they rename the auditorium at the Lions Middle High School. Do you guys know about the renaming?
So I heard Dad was coming to tell us.
Oh, whoops, sorry. The cat's out of the bag.
Maybe we don't say the name.
Yeah, don't say it.
Yeah.
Don't say the name.
I'm not saying the name. Honestly, for anybody who has taken a look at the public art in our streets, the Hearts of Lions project is actually going to be installing about 8 or 9 sculptures around lions this summer, like before and during. So I am really excited about discussing the possibility of some kind of like walkabout in the fall where we can actually take instead of like a permanent art show in Town Hall and Library, we could do like a walking art show. Wouldn't that be fun? Traveling art show. You guys saw the submission for the creative outlets by the winner, Erica Schmidt with the trout. So that'll be down near the bridge there at Second Ave and Bowen Park. We talked about the mural on the north side of Town Hall that will be installed in October. What else? Oh, the U trail marker, the plaque has been ordered. There's 2 bids out for the interpretive sign. And I guess my question was, are we planning some kind of unveiling ceremony for this once we have the plaque and the interpretive sign? And are we going to
For
involve
the youth
the-
trail marker?
Right.
Yeah, talk to the chair of the
Okay.
because she's been working with the Ute Nation about that.
Great, I think that's a great idea. And then there was the question about the tree stump and whether it's on CDOT property or Town of Lions property and whether we need to approve that design before going forward. So that's all I have for those 2 commissions. I can save the rest for later. if you like. You'll keep us wondering. Trustee Elson?
All right, so the the Eco Advisory Board will need someone to go to their meeting tomorrow night. And the EDC has a meeting Wednesday morning. So no reports for those. The SFC had a meeting last week. They're broken up. So the SFC is broken up into 2 people groups. They're pairing up and they're working on all different things. They've got one that's the waste buddies that's working on they're all working on education, trying to teach people what to throw, where to throw it, how to throw it the best way. So they're working on a way to communicate that to the town residents. So whether it be a website, we're working with Kim to do e-blasts. They just submitted an article to the Redstone Review about how we're 100% renewable energy now. And they're gonna continue writing articles, maybe not from the point of view as the board supported, but just articles in general about sustainable futures. What else? So there was discussion about electricity, just, you might already know this, but they would like a code enhancement to kind of force people to switch to electric if they're making upgrades to their appliances. I said that may not be the best idea by tying someone's hands, but maybe there's a way you can create like a small revolving fund. Because Edward Keenan said you can get great tax rebates for switching to electric. Maybe there's a way we can create a small fund so that 1 or 2 people can get new appliances, and when the money comes in for the tax rebate, they can replace it. Kind of like the businesses do, something like that, just as an idea. So that's something small we could do to help people with switching. What else? They also, we discussed how we're looking for new vehicles and possibly an electric truck. And Kim Mitchell should have some information. There's a new program coming out called the Clean Fleet Grant, which has just started up, which is for vehicles and trucks. And they looked, and trucks of our weight class are in there. And it could be a small fleet, doesn't have to be a large fleet. So that's something that just came up from that. And then we're looking for vehicles. And I think that's it. And my last update, Mead High School is now 22 games that they've won. So
Way to go.
yes, they've won. They're playing their lacrosse game they're playing Saturday is the one team they've lost to in the past year. And they're from Chicago. So anyway.
Amazing, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'll go next and then do you wanna?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I wanna thank Trustee Dottie, Trustee Delman, and Trustee Williams for being willing to serve another 2 years. And I know that the really great working relationship is gonna continue. I wanna thank Mayor Pro Tem for her 6 years of service to the town as a trustee and the PCDC commissioner and as Mayor Pro Tem. You will be sorely missed, and I hope you enjoy your free Monday nights. I want to thank Trustee Olson for stepping up and stepping in for your great questions and your great ideas. to help us solve some really complex issues. You will also be missed, and I hope you enjoy your 20-minute retirement. And I don't think trustee Edding is watching from Nepal, but just in case he decides to watch the YouTube later. He's got pretty much a decade of service into the town of Lyons as the chair of the planning commission. And then as a trustee, and his institutional knowledge and his experience were and are invaluable. And I hope he steps back in once he gets bored being retired. I also want to thank staff for all of your diligence and your hard work and your support, particularly with the board that was 6/7 new 2 years ago. And to all of our boards and commissions who volunteer so many hours and so much expertise for the benefit of the town. And most importantly, I want to thank the community for the engagement and support over the past 2 years and for trusting me to do it again for another 2 years. I'm really proud of what this board has accomplished together, and I am looking forward to more of that. So I'm going to save the rest of my trustee report for the next go around this evening.
So my trustee report, I did not attend the last PCDC meeting. It was a very light agenda, so I went to a concert. So I don't have an update there, but I do want to take this opportunity to say a few things. And it's to express I'm not going to be able to do this. Enormous gratitude for this town and having been given the opportunity to serve. And the last 6 years have just been just phenomenal. But it's not because of one person or the 7 people here on this dais. It's because of our staff and the incredible help and knowledge and support. But it's also, and in addition, it's been the residents who really participated. And one of the biggest areas that I experienced that participation was in the comprehensive plan. And so happy for its completion. And I couldn't have done it without David Hamrick.
Yeah.
So that was phenomenal. But I thought of a bunch of things that I am really proud of over the last 6 years, and I narrowed it down to 12. But I am gonna list them. So my first one, even though I've already said the comp plan, but my first one was the skate park. That was amazing. And it's something that we are all enjoying. But before actually I go through the list, there's one more thing I just really wanted to say. We all have a lot of commonalities because we live here in Lyons. And there are many differences as well. But the things that I'm going to list out, I really do think it's progress that has been beneficial to the whole group. No matter how you might necessarily have thought about it in one way or another, we do come together and can appreciate the benefits of it. And so that is really been something that I've held dear in these processes. So the skate park, the comp plan, the fire task force. We built a lot of great awareness around this. We've really developed a better relationship with the fire department and seeing their shared and even owning more responsibility and helping us with mitigation, I think is really tremendous. The 9 additional units that we have for income-based housing on Evans Street. The art mural and the time that I had with the Arts and Humanities Commission, but the mural on Town Hall is just world class. And I loved being a part of that. Being a part of the settlement of the wastewater treatment plant with a respectable amount of funds to make improvements. Creating a funding source for infrastructure projects. Overcoming significant obstacles, although not all quite complete yet, to implement the St. Vrain Trail connecting to the Eastern Corridor. I'm really appreciative that we were able to increase pay for staff, just to bring them up to what is standard income for their jobs in the state of Colorado. We've had incredible productive 2 years in working with the best staff. I truly value the mutual respect that we've established, and I really commend this board for making that a priority. And it has been one of the most rewarding jobs and experiences I've ever had. So thank you. But the last one, and probably my favorite, and I definitely want to thank David Cosgrove, because I brought it up during one of our budgets and workshops, and had requested that we get a doggy bag and poop box. And this is really exciting because it did go in around the Connell Ponds, and it's full all the time, so it's well used. So that's my favorite one. And I'm done. Thank you.
Is there a summary of action items?
Oh, you weren't gonna get.
I did.
Oh. Oh, yes, I do have it here. I'm missing trustee Williams, so that doesn't look as big. The only thing I have on there is staff was directed to go ahead and move forward with the depot landscaping phase 1.
The only other thing I had was to gear up removing the definition of family in our occupancy code.
That's what I have.
Would you care to make a motion?
I would. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I would like to make an motion to adjourn.
Signed.
Signed it. Well, I'm not done. Oh. So. Do we vote on
You have
that?
to move to adjourn. so.
I move to adjourn.
Sign.
Signed.
Well, I was gonna say that.
So you have to say.
This meeting has been adjourned.
Signed.
I know. I would like to make the motion that we adjourn, and then I was gonna say this meeting has been adjourned. With.
You have to move
the
to
sign.
adjourn. Sign.
Yeah. I move to adjourn. Sign idea.
Thank you.
Yay. Do
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I'll call for the vote.
And this meeting has been adjourned.
Thank you,
Sign
everybody.
idea. D, die.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we'll take a minute, do a little swapping out.
Yep.
I know that you want to take a photo of the board, so in front of the dais so that we can do that.
Here, we'll switch this. These are yours.
Yep.
Please take. Trustee Betty, you are staying. There you go.
Trustee Williams, we're taking a group photo and you're gonna be in it on screen, so just so you know. that-
So
we're gonna turn around.
Can we ask her to take her glasses off? Glasses off?
Oh, your glasses, there you go.
There.
Okay, okay. Get her.
All right.
Okay. Do you have everybody? Great.
I can see her.
See them.
Is everybody?
Wait.
Where's Greg? There we go. Okay.
Everybody, we've got everybody?
Now we're missing Greg.
Where?
I'll come over here so that when Greg comes back, maybe.
You went to the bathroom.
He's allowed, yes.
Just give us 1 second, we're missing 1%. You know, for women of a certain age, you always go.
I'm trying, I appreciate you trying, yes.
You ever see, was it Airplane 2? or-
There he is.
There he is, fine.
Leslie Nielsen was giving a talk. Forgot to take the-
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay,
Can you
so
see her?
let me
No.
see. Oh, wait, I gotta get that camera.
Mark, go to that side
Come
and
this side.
balance out the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
go
need a
this
tall
way.
person over
We're
here.
gonna get you guys
Over
in
here.
here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Watch for the keyboard.
Okay.
There we go.
Come in.
Yep, I'm coming.
There you
I'm
go.
coming.
There
Okay,
we go.
there we go.
There.
All right, I think we got it. Okay. Let's press it. But Mark's chewing his, okay. Okay, here we go, couple more.
You're trying to get a picture.
Thank you.
Can you see
Thank
Paula in the
very
photo?
much.
Let's see.
Pardon?
Can we see Paula in the photo?
Thank you, Paula. Yeah, it's fun to do
Oh, cool. Great, you're there.
She's in, she's in.
You're in. You're in,
Thank you,
Paula.
thank you.
Look at Mark. Celia wants a picture. 1, 2.
Is it good? I didn't look really.
Let's see, can we keep, hey Dolores?
Yeah.
Can we keep Paula big on screen while we're doing the swearing in?
Got it.
Great.
No, because I'm.
Welcome. I try not to exceed my limit over here, but sometimes. Yeah, you should see me on airplane. Now you have your bus. I'll ask for your stuff.
Well, Mr. Hamrick, welcome to your new chair.
Thank you.
Now we have a little.
I like this shirt.
I know, I thought you would love it.
You don't want to listen to me cry.
Trustee Williams, I sent you the script of the oath of office as well in your email.
Yeah, I've got it.
Keep you out of trouble.
Yes.
Yeah, there
We're just waiting for Tanya now. There she is. Okay. Whenever you're ready, Clark.
Not enough time. Oh, now you can take her off of.
Oh, no, we want her, nice and good for the swearing in.
Okay, the time is 8:13 PM. It is April 15th, 2024, and I call the regular Board of Trustees meeting to order.
Ready?
Yeah, I think we're
Okay,
ready.
I'm Judge Kristen Brown, for those of you who don't know me. And I'm gonna swear everyone in individually, because there may be, I don't know, photo ops if somebody wants a photo op. So in any event, I don't know, can you see me, Ms. Williams?
I can, well, I cannot now, but I did, yeah.
Okay, where should I move? So.
Well, the owl
Whatever
will
you're
follow
calling.
you, whatever you're.
Oh, I should pick me up. Okay.
You're on there.
Wonderful.
It's,
All right.
it's following you. Yeah, my problem is I'm also trying to look at the script.
No problem. All right, we'll do these in little bits and pieces. Why don't you raise your right hand? I, Paula Williams,
I, Paula Williams,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
upon which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm gonna sign this, I've signed this and you'll sign this, Dolores will have the original. All right, thank you. I gave everyone the original so that you can follow along, because people get nervous when they have to actually repeat after me. Because I do that when I'm being sworn in. Would you raise your right hand? I state your name.
I, Glenn Delman,
Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. All right. May I now have, did you want to come forward? Yeah. Come on up. Feel free. Yeah. You want to raise your right hand? I, and state your name,
I, Mark Browning,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. You need to go last. Okay, all right. I, and state your name,
I, Greg Lowell,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
of the trustee of the Town of Lyons,
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which we're about to enter.
All right, congratulations. Right. I state your name,
Tanya Dati,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
of the trustee of the Town of Lyons,
of the trustee of the Town of Lyons,
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. I, and state your name,
I, David Hamrick,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
of trustee of the Town of Lyons,
upon which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. I, and state your name,
I, Holly Rogan,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and the Town of Lyons Municipal Code,
and faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of the office of Mayor of the Town of Lyons,
of the office of Mayor of the Town of Lyons,
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Good luck to you all, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Here we go.
Okay.
Vernon's right behind
All right, Clerk Vasquez, could we please have the roll?
Yes, Mayor Rogan,
Present?
Mayor Pro Tem Williams,
Present,
trustee Hamrick,
Present.
trustee Dottie,
Present.
trustee Lowell,
Present.
trustee Browning,
Present.
and trustee Delman.
Thank you very much. We've already said the Pledge of Allegiance, so is there a motion to approve this agenda?
I motion to approve this agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Great. The next item is board appointment of Mayor Pro Tem. if the board supports the decision, I would like to appoint trustee Paula Williams as mayor pro tem for this term. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, great. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Couldn't be happier. I look forward to having you here.
And I look forward to being there. I'm in North Carolina. I speak first thing in the morning, so I'm so sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us online. Next up, we have the appointment of liaisons to boards and commissions. And I'm trying to find my cheat sheet here. All right. Trustee Lowell, Ecology Advisory Board. Trustee Browning, Utilities and Engineering Board, the Dr. Cog alternate, and Economic Vitality Commission. Mayor Pro Tem, Historic Preservation Commission. Trustee Dottie, Lions Arts and Humanities Commission and Housing and Human Services Commission. Trustee Delman, Parks and Rec Commission, Student Advisory Commission. And Trustee Emmerich, Sustainable Futures Commission. I will be the liaison to the Planning and Community Development Commission, the Denver Regional Council of Governments Board Director, and the Consortium of Cities. And as I always say, anytime anyone wants to come with me down to Dr. Cog for a Wednesday evening meeting in Denver, you're more than welcome. They provide dinner. And next, it is my great pleasure to read the mayoral proclamation of Professional Municipal Clerks Week, especially coming on the heels of an election. We appreciate you and Clerk Rubio so much. So this is a proclamation for the 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, which is May 5th through 11th, 2024. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Holly Rogan, Mayor of the Town of Lyons, do recognize the week of May 5th through 11th, 2024. As Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerks, Dolores Vasquez and Maria Marquez Rubio. In addition to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent, dated this 15th day of April, 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you to Maria for all your dedicated work, particularly during election time. It is most appreciated.
Thank you, Dolores. Thank you.
Okay, and now we have audience business. Anyone in the room care to address the Board of Trustees at this time? Okay, anyone online? Okay, we will close audience business, and would you please read consent into the record, Clerk Vasquez?
Yes, item 1 is resolution 2024-41, a resolution of the Town of Lyons, Colorado, appointing town officers. Item 2 is resolution 2024-42, resolution of the Town of Lyons, Colorado, modifying the agenda, order, and manner of business of meetings of the Lyons Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second.
anything anyone would like to pull tonight?
I had a question about item 2.
Okay, we're on item 2. Anyone else? All right, we will vote on consent as amended.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Trustee Browning?
Yeah, on item 2, on the order of business and so forth, I understood from our orientation session that I think on the next meeting, May 6th, we're gonna have a workshop about procedures and that type of things. We talked about a couple of things like maybe changing the audience business time if there's less than 5 speakers, and changing a little bit the agenda request for trustees. And I have a question also about citizen agenda requests and how those are handled. I don't know if there's a written policy on that or not. They just kind of, maybe there is, I don't know. Okay.
There's a form.
We have an agenda request.
Are we gonna deal with those on May the 6th?
We can, I mean, that was not, my intention was to deal with, more of like legal training and like social media ethics, quasi-judicial procedure, but we could, as part of that workshop, we could do this stuff as well.
Because we thought I needed to modify a couple of the existing rules and procedures, and I didn't wanna skip past that. If we're gonna take it up at a later date, that's fine, but.
Yeah, I mean, maybe what we can do is have a 2-part workshop, 1 part training, 1 part
Yeah.
looking at existing policies.
And that was my understanding too, that
Okay.
those changes will be made, but they're not officially a part of the order and manner of business in this resolution.
Okay. That sounds
But
good.
that was the agreement.
All right.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, then I move the adoption of resolution 2024-42, order and manner of business.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. It is now my great pleasure to bring Ted Elson out of retirement to the Planning and Community Development Commission. Thank you very
18
much.
minutes.
Also to appoint Eve Nath, thank you very much, Eve, to the Planning and Community Development Commission. And staff will be in touch with the paperwork and information and whatnot, so thank you very much. Okay, on to general business. We have 2 items. The first item is discussion direction on public engagement process. In the packet were the minutes from the previous board's last meeting where we discussed the issue. We wanted to hold on making any decisions until the new board was seated. So I think the question is, what do the new trustees think? What would you like to add? What would you like to change? Would you like to start us off?
Sure. I don't have any specific recommendations other than I think over the course of the next 2 years, we should try lots of different channels. I think we've gotten lots of good participation over the last several months, so everybody communicates differently, so I think hence trying different channels, see what works, or try different mediums, and so I'm just suggesting not coming up with a fixed way to communicate, but let's try different things and see what the take rate is.
Okay. Trustee Will?
I like the idea of the putting out the survey, to sort of pulse the community to see what they think is the most efficacious manner to communicate with us. I'm also enthused about quarterly. I think once the survey is done, maybe we should see what the output of that is, and then maybe look at a quarterly meeting. 2 or 3 of us here, it doesn't have to be the whole board, but maybe on a rotating basis. We'll see how that goes. I wouldn't suggest doing it in the summer. I don't think we get much participation in the summer, but certainly as we get into the winter months, I think we'll make it more participation.
I think I talked about this at the orientation session. I would like to see an e-blast go out before each meeting, probably on a Friday. That just in bullet point form lists the top 4, 5, 6 things, if there are that many, that the board is going to do on Monday, with a link to the packet. If you desire more information on these topics, here's a link to the packet. And kind of a standard reminder, you can email the board about this. Here's a link to their email addresses. You're welcome to speak at audience business at the first of the meeting. So I think what's been done in recent times is that after the meetings, there's been kind of the short summary of what happened at the meetings, but I would think it's more important to let people know what's going to happen in case somebody is interested in one of those topics and wants to speak. So I'd like to see if we could implement that. That's just the last one. They're gonna take it. Doesn't have to be long. Just these things are on the agenda for Monday night, and here's a link to the packet for more information.
Thank you.
That's my suggestion.
Thank you.
Can I ask Trustee Browning a question about that? So how is that different from an agenda that goes out?
Well, because a lot of people don't read the agenda. They don't scroll down to 5 consent items and 3 general business items. I'm just short and sweet.
So it's
These four
basically like
things.
a brief summary of the agenda.
And just the board is meeting Monday night at 7 o'clock. These items are on the agenda, you know, traffic study, ordinance on curbside land pickup, whatever it may be, just bullet points only, and then link them to the agenda, because I think it's correct that more people get e-blast than sign up for the agendas, isn't that right?
Oh, I don't think so.
E-blast get a much wider distribution, so the more people you can inform of what's gonna happen, the better we are, I think. That's my suggestion.
Great. Trustee William, Mayor Pro Tem, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I agree with Trustee Browning on this. I always feel like it's the old advertising adage, it takes 6 to stick. And anything we can do that provides more information to our people, that comes to them in a bite-sized form, that actually might pique their interest, allows them to see that they are a part of the process, and not that that they have to wait until after it's happened. Because it's true, people just simply aren't going to click on the agenda. I think making it much easier for them is a really good idea. Have we ever done that in the past, Victoria? Is that something that we have a history with?
Of the bullet points prior to the meeting?
Right.
No, not that I'm aware of, but Kim has already identified a way to do that, and we found a couple formats we liked. One was Castle Pines. And so as we work through this process, we'll add that to our communication strategy. Yeah.
Trustee
One other
Tillman, do you
thing.
have- Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, one other thing related to it is, I'd like to have us, if we're able to maybe have a sign up where one of us can join you on those Monday meetings, with the mayor, because I know we can't have like 2 of us show up. But if we had a sign up for that, where we were able to say, this is the week I'm going to show up with you, I would like to do that. I would like to do it regularly. I just don't want to end up, running into, open meeting slots.
Wonderful, thank you. I welcome that. Yeah. Trustee Dunn, thank
I
you.
don't have anything else to add.
I have a couple of things to add. I think I love the idea of doing a survey, and then I love the idea of doing a survey, and I don't think we should wait to get the results of the survey to start doing other things. I would like to schedule a quarterly town hall. And not all trustees have to attend. But Administrator Simonson and I were batting around the idea of having it be perhaps a presentation for the first half an hour. And then or maybe I was talking to Mayor Pro Tem, what was that? Yeah. And then a discussion following. So the format, sorry. So the format didn't shift, but I do think we should get those scheduled. I think, thanks to former trustee Ellison's suggestion of having a town hall related to the IGA, we saw really great participation, and I'd like to build on that. And I also understand that staff has been working on a fulsome communications plan. So hopefully we'll be able to track all of these bits and pieces of comms and see what's really being successful. So yeah, there's that. And Trustee Dottie.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents. I like how you're coming at it from all angles. I hear Trustee Williams with the take 6, approaches, or 6. I like the idea of the quarterly town meetings. I like the idea of attending the weekly Mondays with you. I think those are also impactful for people who just want a casual, informal setting. I don't know how often the e-blast go. Is that a weekly?
Twice a week.
Twice a week.
It's Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I do love this idea of exploring this one-way communication via text. So in case of emergencies, like the wind event, for example, I just feel like that could really address a lot of the questions that keep coming up on social media, for example. Just having that one-way communication. And the monthly article in the paper, I think, having a staff perspective, I know that you've been writing an article on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
Of what's relevant, but also from a municipal perspective.
I agree. I think having an administrator involved would be a great thing.
Yeah, and I like the idea of presentation and discussion, so there's some kind of structure to those town hall meetings. So yeah,
Okay.
all great ideas.
So, just Mayor Pro Tem, please.
Yeah, one
Sorry.
other thing about the quarterly meetings. I would think that it's in our best interest not to have those in this building, but to have those if possible at the library. I think there's not a dais, there's not a something in between the trustees and the audience. I feel like it just creates a more open atmosphere if that's not a problem and can be arranged with the library.
Sorry, it's every Monday.
Yeah. As I said, we have an IGA with them that allows us use of their facilities, so.
Yeah, on another night, it looks like Mondays are pretty busy.
And then, if staff has additional suggestions, of course, they'd be welcome. And I'm just curious about when we can expect to see a comms plan.
We are, planning to present a communication strategy on May 6th, if it so meets your agenda needs that
Great.
night.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. Anything else on this topic? All right. The second item of general business is discussion direction on the Dr. Cog Safe Streets for All consideration of Lions pedestrian network plan grant funding.
Yes, this was kind of interesting, last minute exciting news. And I've asked Tracy Sanders to join us.
Good night.
I've asked Tracy to join us, who is still involved with many of our grants and went to the session on this with Kim Mitchell. Kim is out of town tonight, so Tracy's going to give us an update on this grant and see if the board has an interest in pursuing it or not. Tracy.
Evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Board of Trustees. So we're looking for direction regarding local match requirement for a Safe Streets for All grant. The short term for that is SS4A, and it's under a larger umbrella of federal funding out there under the IIJA program, which is Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. We were approached by Dr. Cog. They're looking for communities to put in a large, like several projects together to do one application. It's a very competitive application process. It's for federal funding, and it's a national competition. So I think they were looking for programs or projects that fit under that Safe Streets for All program. And so they reached out to Kim and I. We met with them a week or two ago, and they felt like our sidewalk assessment would be a good fit for this program. And so we forwarded them the assessment we had completed earlier this year. And from that report, they picked out our phase 1 list of priority projects that was in the report. And the areas in that phase 1 are in the memo that was in the packet. And the total estimate for all of those areas to put in curb, gutter, and sidewalk was about $940,000. Now the SS4A program does require a 20% match. I did speak with Dr. Cog today to get a little clarification on the match.
Actually, the grant, the amount of those improvements is 4.7 million.
Oh, sorry.
Our match 940.
Right. Sorry about that. Yep. Our match would be 940,000. So, so I did speak with Dr. Cog today to get a little more clarification. So the timeline on this is the award would be around early 2025. We would have 5 years to expend the funds. I did ask if we could reduce our match amount, and they said we could not do that. However, we could reduce the scope, which would reduce our match. So we could reduce these items here or pick some other areas. I think they were very interested in sidewalks along the Highway 7 and Highway 36, because it is more for roadway safety improvements, but that isn't to say they wouldn't support any pedestrian safety that we have. So we could approach them with a reduced scope if we like. So the town staff did identify some options for the match, to assist the town with match. There is a DOLA program out there called LOMA, and it's a local match program. And I do have a call set up with them tomorrow to see if this would be a good fit and how much they would be willing to support us in the match. We also felt that maybe Boulder County Transportation, their fund might be an option. We could reach out to Boulder County, since some of the sidewalks are in the county and connectivity, supporting connectivity. CDOT, some of these sidewalks are in CDOT right away, so we felt maybe we could apply for some CDOT grants. And I believe the town has started doing a set aside for these sidewalks. It looks like that in the 2024 budget, we do have approximately 245,000 set aside in the budget to support implementing new sidewalks. So we felt like there's a few opportunities there. And so I think we're just looking for direction from the board. Would they like us to pursue this and to see if there are options to cover our portion of the match? So I think that's basically it.
Thank you, Tracy.
Just one add-on is that Dr. Cog is needing to know if we want to be involved as a small community. They want representation from all sorts of different areas in the metro. That they need to submit in May. So that's why we are bringing this up on your first night. I want to mention too that the DOLA LOMA stands for local match for small communities, is what it's for. And it is for up to 500,000 of this. It's 250,000 to 500,000 local match. So of the 940, if DOLA would pick up, 500 of that, we have the 245 already set aside, and we've done pretty well getting our partners, especially knowing that one of these sidewalks would take us out to Eagle Canyon, which would be huge. And then Highway 7 here that connects the confluence, and we hear oftentimes about the lack of safety along this road for the people who live on Fifth Avenue and Ewald. It really surprised me when they called. We weren't really expecting it because they just awarded SS48 to us this year in 23 to do the safety study. But it sounds like they want a very small community to be involved, and they want to know, do you want to be submitted with us or not?
Thank you. All right, so let's start with questions. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have any questions?
So I was intrigued with the notion that this can be stretched out over 5 years, potentially.
Yes.
This is so like, the 240,000 that we already have in the budget for this year. Explain how that process would work if it can in fact be stretched out.
I think that would be a question for Director Eyestone, but I do want to mention that the May 5th commitment, if we do move forward, it is a May 5th commitment to Dr. Cog, and we would have to submit a match commitment letter. And we've done this on other grants too, where we have to take it to the board, and the board has to commit to coming up with the match however that they want to do it. So, but I guess maybe spreading it out would just be doing maybe a set aside each year in the budget, is what I'm guessing.
Would that be something that would be possible if the LOMA program didn't come through, or the Boulder County Transportation didn't come through? I mean, what are our options here and what are the likelihood of these things coming through? I mean, that's a big chunk of change.
I do believe Director Eystone, she did send an email. Let me look real quick. It looks like she mostly was addressing Broadway. So I think that's something maybe we could circle back with if we need to. I think we should ask Director Eystone on that.
We do have to
Yes,
do
it
this by the 5th of May.
What, at this point, it's discussion direction. We can go to DOLA or to Dr. Cog and let them know that we meet on the 6th. You know, ask for one more day to get that to them.
Yeah,
Gives us a little more time to figure it out.
well, there's a lot of moving parts. Did you have additional questions, Mayor Pro Tem?
No, those are the main ones I have.
Thank you. Trustee Gentleman?
So I guess I have a question. East on US 36, is that on the north side connecting Stone Canyon to downtown?
Justin is on, Justin, are you able to identify the areas, segments that are listed in phase 1?
Yeah, sorry, I don't have the packet in front of me, but the east US 36 would be converting the crusher fine trail from 2nd Avenue to McConnell. When we were doing the sidewalk assessment, that one scored really high as far as use and ability to get to different places in town. So the recommendation from the consultants was to convert that to a concrete path so that it was ADA compliant.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, that is not, I think the only thing that goes north of 36 in that study is like in phase 4. There's nothing on the, and that would connect from Stone Canyon up toward the quilt shop. There's nothing that's on the north side of 36 at all that I can see in the first 3 phases.
Attorney Gentler?
I want to go back to something that Mayor Pro Tem Williams spoke about, the multi-year basically approach to this. And the important thing to keep in mind about that would be it's up to each board appropriating that in the budget every year, right? As you know, we can't bind future boards in that way. So we would just say you're making a commitment to do this, but it's subject to appropriation each year of that program. Or you could encumber all the funds up front, and it's not really much different in that case, but so maybe you'll encumber as much as you can up front, and then you can lead up to future boards or appropriate whatever the additional amounts are.
Okay, thank you.
Following up on that, so let's say there's $245,000 in the budget this year for sidewalks, and let's say for next year's budget, the most this board can come up with is another $150,000. But we are legally committed, once we sign on to this, to come up with the additional $600,000 less what we get in grants, correct?
Potentially. I mean, we could always argue that any obligation of the local government, which we always argue, is contingent upon appropriation of funds.
Yeah.
And this is a multi-year commitment. That was, a part of the deal, basically. They could always, sue for equitable reasons. But we had to look at the grant terms, right, and see what they say. But there's no way really around appropriating the monies and being contingent upon appropriating the monies.
Unless you're willing to bond it.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, bond it, put it up front.
We put that in every contract we sign, it's subject to huge appropriations, but once you legally commit to something, if you don't appropriate, you're gonna get sued and you're gonna lose.
I mean, I wouldn't be so sure about that. I
Yeah.
mean, there is favorable case law in our favor on that when we work with local governments, that we're subject to limitations, including future appropriations. But they have arguments on their sides, mostly lying in equity, that they would rely upon. But this is an argument we have all the time with, with entities about future appropriations.
The biggest ticket item, my question, I guess Tracy or Victoria would be, the biggest ticket item on yours, West US 36. Is that basically replacing the Crusher Fine Trail that goes most of the way out to Eagle Canyon now with a concrete path all the way to Eagle Canyon?
Correct.
Okay.
We can always reduce the scope. We could pick other priority, some priorities out of this list or the other ones as well, if we want to reduce scope and just come up with less of a match. And we can come back on the May 6th meeting with some more information from Dr. Cog. I'm sorry, not from DOLA, from the Loma match program as well. So there's some options there.
That's where my question was leading, because when I saw this sidewalk survey, and as I see this now, I don't think all of these things belong in the same priority category. I would certainly not rank. But that's getting more into comments than questions, but I have some priority questions. So I guess question wise, we could talk later about make motions basically to reduce the scope.
We can talk about that.
Do sub priorities within this, because I'm not in favor of all these priorities. Okay.
Trustee Lowell.
Yeah, the first thing that struck me when I saw this was, I think some of this money could be better spent on other infrastructure projects. But I'm gonna reserve judgment on this until I hear what Tracy comes back with for a report from her meeting with Dole and Lomat.
Did you have any questions for staff?
No, I don't. I do not right now.
Thank you. Trustee Dati?
Yeah, I guess I just have a couple of questions. I guess the first one would be regarding phase one. I see West US 36 and East US 36. I don't see Highway 7. So I guess that $4.7 million price tag wouldn't include Highway 7, or we'd have to switch it out with something else. Right, I don't see.
There is I can't remember what it was called, but it basically connects like the Ewald area and gets you over to the 4th Street Bridge. That is one of the items listed.
So I see for phase one, I see 3rd Avenue, Stickney Street, Evans and Park, 5th and Evans, West US 36, 4th Avenue, 2nd Avenue High, and East 36, as well as some downtown segments, but I don't see anything. Maybe that's another phase.
Well, we might have,
Evans probably.
yeah, that could be 5th and Evans. That could also include Evans and Park Streets.
Okay, so I guess my question is around that $4.7 million price tag for phase one, if it doesn't include Highway 7, and how would that change that price tag if we were to include Highway 7?
Or if we ask CDOT to pick that up.
Right.
And
Right.
Eagle Canyon.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess my second question is, since the increase in sales tax has passed and we had agreed that would go towards infrastructure, if we were to use the 245 that we already put aside in the 2024 budget and the 250 that we could potentially raise in revenue from the increase in sales tax, and we got the Loma up to 500,000, then I feel like we could get that 20% match. I see those numbers, and maybe that's not a question, that was just am I right with those numbers? Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I think it's.
So that would be, I imagine that would be a board decision then as to how we would use that revenue from the sales tax, and if it could go towards this. Okay.
For 1 year.
Trustee Hammer?
I don't have any questions for staff, just some concerns, but I suspect this isn't the time to bring those
We'll
up.
come back around.
Okay.
We'll come back around. So this is the way that, I do have questions. How long do you think it'll take, Tracy, for DOLA to make a decision about Loma?
I don't know. I haven't applied for any Loma funds yet, but I feel like it's a program that they're really encouraging communities to utilize, and I don't know how much people are really taking advantage of it. So I get the sense that we would know pretty quickly, but I think our call tomorrow will get a good sense on that. The process and how, if they have a lot of people applying, are they limited to how much they can give out per year? That kind of stuff, but they've been really pushing it a lot. So I do feel like they need people to really take advantage of this program. But like I said, I'll know more tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. And then, so for Highway 7 and Highway 36, we can ask CDOT if they'll cover that match, correct? Because that's
Or the county.
that portion.
We could ask both to help us because there is no safe pedestrian methods.
No,
or
and
bike
this
methods
is,
on
you
either.
know, as we learned in consortium from cities, this is a perfect use for the
Yes.
transportation tax that we all pay.
Well, and if you guys recall, in my report, I mentioned this property tax backfill.
Right.
When I looked at the chart, the entirety of Boulder County and all its taxing districts is getting $17 million back.
Whoa.
The portion that's the county of Boulder, I believe, was like 23 million or something. But as you guys know, we're getting ready to talk IGA. So these are the sorts of things that, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking. And then the other thing just to bring up is, you know, when I first heard this, it just was so surprising to me. I wasn't expecting it. That I had Justin go back and check how much of this is also storm drainage, because to me, that's really important as well. So that is also an area, if we decided if we needed a little bit of a gap, you might be able to use some stormwater funding too.
And this includes curb and gutter,
Yes.
all the sidewalks. Okay. Okay. So let's go to thoughts. I'm gonna start on this end with trustee Hamrick.
DC had her hand up on her.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tracy.
That's okay. I just wanted to add two things really quick. I think the CDOT, if we were to request funding from them, I think we have to go through their normal application process through TIP or other transportation programs that they have. So we would have to apply for some other grant funding through them. But also Kim is watching on YouTube and she sent me a text and wanted me to answer Trustee Daddy's question. And she said a lot of these areas are the downtown segments. So hopefully that helps a little bit with your question. And that's all I had.
Thank you. All right, trustee Hamrick, what do you think? That's a bad.
No, I'm supportive of this. I think obviously the biggest concern is how we cover the gap on the match. And so it'd be nice to have some level of comfort back from DOLA and when we meet next time to understand what the probabilities are. I do have a concern as we add assets to the inventory, they depreciate. And we have to maintain these. So if we get $5 million in sidewalks last 25 years. So we need to put 200K away in the bank for future maintenance. So I just think we have to be cognizant as we accept these awards to look ahead to say, how are we going to maintain them? I'm making an assumption there's no maintenance, including this is all capital, I assume. So just something, and this is a discussion for a later day, I think, but I think we really need to understand what our deferred maintenance is, and this would just add to it. Not for a long time, but it's something we need to be thinking about.
So it sounds like you're wanting to have staff ask if we can have one extra day to give them a decision.
Correct. Yeah.
For May 6th.
Yeah.
And have some level of assurances as much as there can be to understand how we can close these gaps from the different funding agencies. I realize that time's too short but just in everybody's professional opinion, if we feel like comfortable in doing it.
We have one extra week between meetings.
Yeah. That's trustee Darcy.
Well, I feel really strongly that safety is paramount in our town. I feel like that is our #1 priority when it comes to safeguarding our community. And the fact that I hadn't even realized that there wasn't a sidewalk going out Highway 7. And I think of all of our residents going out that direction, all the neighbors there at Prospect. And I also think about Eagle Canyon. I hadn't realized that there wasn't a sidewalk going out that way either. I mean,
students.
Yeah, I mean, people walking along a state highway and people aren't necessarily respecting the speed limit, as we know from that flashing sign that is always flashing. That causes me concern. And definitely appreciate Dr. Cog reaching out to ask us if we're interested, and I think we are interested. I think we should be interested. I think we have to be fiscally responsible. I think we have to look at all the options and funding sources. I think that the fact that the previous board was already thinking about extra revenue for infrastructure projects was good foresight, and I think we need to, see if that's part of this funding gap. But I think for phase one, when I see 36 east and west, I think we also need to clearly state Highway 7 all the way to town limits. And I think we definitely need to look at funding from CDOT for sure for all of that. So I'm a yes, once we have, once we all feel more comfortable with having all of the answers. Like, for example, the DOLA phone call tomorrow.
And so maybe after we have more answers, maybe that would be the meeting to prioritize the projects.
Well, we did do those at a full workshop with the board. You remember that this is all a numbering system.
But if
prioritizing within phase one.
Within phase one, should we decide that we want to scale back the scope, then that would be the time.
Right.
Trustee Lowell?
Yeah, I think we need to reduce the scope of some of this phase one work. In particular, I'm looking at East 36, and I think the suggestion is that we replace the crusher fines path from the Black Bear Hole down to McConnell with a cement concrete. From an environmental standpoint, you don't do that along a river. You create too much runoff, too many materials going into the river. If that were intended, if it was not ADA compliant, we built that with flood funds, right? Wouldn't that have been part of the have an ADA requirement on the FEMA funds to rebuild that?
Crusher fines are considered basic ADA, but what this study did was look at kind of like our street system. What are the arterials? What are the networking ones? And they prioritize those based on what people use. I actually think, and I'll look, but I think the St. Vrain Trail along that section is in the 500-year floodplain, and that's why it was okay to be concrete. But I will take a look at that again.
I'm just concerned about the runoff aspect of
Yeah.
it. And also this portion of the trail is meant to connect up with the
St. Vrain Trail.
The St. Vrain Trail.
It is the
which
same,
gonna be
yeah.
pressure fine
Yeah.
all the way down. So
Well,
if we're gonna start winnowing out some of the phase one, that's one of the ones that I would definitely take.
Well, let's, I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
So,
Just my suggestion is that if we can't reduce the match, as Tracy explains, we can certainly reduce the scope.
Yes. And that would.
I agree with the Route 7 thing too, by the way, maybe substitute that for that. Yeah.
okay, so it sounds like you two are saying, let's take it up at the next meeting once we know more.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, great. Trustee Browning?
Yes, I was a bit surprised and a little bit disappointed when I saw this sidewalk study come out, that all of these things were in priority one. And I believe that I heard the prior board, several members of that board discuss, we need to probably reprioritize. There's probably too much for us to do cost-wise in a single set of priorities. The most important sidewalks to do in this town are the missing sidewalks around the elementary school. Those belong in a separate priority category, in my opinion, than these others. I run the Crusher Fine Trail out to Eagle Canyon all the time. I ride my bike along the Crusher Fine out past McConnell all the time. I personally don't want to see concrete on those places. I think we're better off with Crusher Fine if we need to maintain the one at Eagle Canyon a little bit better and complete the last little section of it. But I do not think that a priority for our town with its limited budget and the things that we need to do would be putting concrete along those highways. I am not a fan of letting grant availability set our town's priorities. And I think that since the flood, for a lot of the flood projects, we had no choice. We didn't get a grant, we couldn't do them. But I think it's easy for a town to slip into the habit of, oh, there's a grant for this, we should do it. Not if it doesn't fit our priorities, and I don't think all these fit our priorities. What I want to see out of sidewalks is get the sidewalks done in the elementary school area. That's the most important, that's the biggest safety factor. We need to do that. We can look at doing sub priorities here, or, reprioritizing these at the next meeting, but if I had to vote yes or no on this tonight, I'd vote no. So let's look at it again and see if we can cut the scope. I don't think spending $940,000 of local tax money on sidewalks is a top priority for this town. I certainly don't want to spend the money from the new tax increase on that. That's the only chance we have to do Second Avenue as I see it. That's why I am right now.
Thank you.
So I definitely agree that the East US 36 should be pulled to save $150,000 and make things a little easier, because we already do have a nice trail right there. And I wouldn't want concrete.
Okay, so, so apart from the details, because, you know, it doesn't make sense to prioritize among this list until we have a bigger lay of the land when it comes to the match, are you okay with waiting until the next meeting to get those details and taking it up again? I think.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
And I think it sounds like we're all in agreement that even in that phase one, some of these things need to be paired out, but certainly when it comes to safe schools route. And I think also down 7. I mean, I've been running 6 days a week for 45 years. I don't run down 7 because I don't want to die. So, I mean, I think there are a lot of these things we need to look at, but yeah, let's see what we can come up with in terms of recommendations from staff on the DOLA, the LOMA, and see if we can put this off until after the meeting on the 6th. Makes me very frustrated that I'm going to be in Scotland on the 6th. Well, actually, I'm very happy to be in Scotland. I just wouldn't I don't want to miss that meeting.
Well, and we will need to decide on the 6th.
Yeah, I do understand that.
Okay. Well, and I'm sorry you'll be in Scotland. I know you're not sorry. But I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, so that's the direction, and just, you know, if for some reason they won't give us one more day, let us know. Yeah, then we'll take it from there. Okay. Trustee reports. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to add to your extensive trustee report from earlier?
Yeah, I would just want to mention that we are always and still, and now even more because of Trustee Hamrick coming on to the board. That makes us one short on the Historic Preservation Committee. We have a lot of good things that are going to be happening with that coming up over the next couple of years. Our chairperson, of course, was at the last meeting, made a wonderful presentation related to that. I just want to see us recruiting for that because I think it's going to be something that's very positive for us over the next couple of years.
Thank you. Trustee Dobbin?
I have nothing new to add.
Nothing happened since, okay. Trustee Browning?
Yes, I have 2 things I want to mention, both to the other trustees and to anyone from the public who's interested. For the next board meeting on the 6th, I requested 2 agenda items. One was for this board to discuss funding, amending the 2024 budget to fund 2 curbside limb pickups, as we have done in years past. And the second is an idea that was suggested by several trustees back in January when the Housing Futures Plan was accepted. And that is to do an addendum to the Housing Futures Plan that addresses a number of the omissions and, in some of our opinions, errors that were included in the Housing Futures Plan. And I would like this board to discuss going forward with that suggestion, which I thought was a good suggestion. So I've asked for agenda items on those 2 things for the next board meeting. That's all.
Thank you. Trustee Will?
So, correct me on the procedure, can I request a future agenda item at this
Yes, sir.
point? Okay, I'd like to request a future agenda item on wildfire mitigation, and that would include having the Lions Fire District here to talk. I know you have something in your administrative report about wildfire mitigation, but I think there are some other things that are at work here that we need to get laid flat. I would like to see fire mitigation begin sooner rather than later. I don't want to wait for grants. I want to see what monies we have available now to do some of the more important mitigation. So if we could get Steve Pitchke and Nicole and Rich Palestro in here from Lions Fire District to talk over what they see as the easily doable mitigation that we can get started this spring.
Thank you. Will do. Trustee Dottie.
Yeah, so I have part 2 of my trustee report. So you heard all about Housing and Human Services Commission and the Arts and Humanities Commission. What I did not present was the meeting I attended with the Chamber of Commerce. That was a membership meeting on May 5th in the lower level of the Lions Community Church. I was really happy to see a diverse group of people, including chamber members, school principals, both elementary and middle and high, and religious leaders, as well as local business people. They're obviously concerned about the revitalization of downtown, especially the corner of 4th and Main, and how that will look this summer. They're also concerned about the hotel. And I think what one of the new board members asked me was, how best can we give them a voice? And so I'm happy to continue, if this makes sense, I'm happy to continue attending these meetings as an individual member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm happy to update the board during my trustee report on what their concerns are, if that meets everybody's, agreement.
And I think other trustees may want to attend as well, so perhaps if a trustee would like to attend the Chamber of Commerce, let trustee Dottie know so that we can retain the number.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I think right now it's set for the first Friday of the month. So the next one, I believe, did I say May 5th? That was April 5th. So I bet the next one will be the first Friday in May, which looks like May 3rd, and it's typically at 8:30 a.m. And then I also wanted to know, for the second year in a row, I attended the Doing Democracy Day at Longmont Museum. So this is an initiative by the school district, St. Marie Valley School District. And I really like this a lot, especially as a former educator, because it's really about students, kind of giving students a voice and also incentivizing them to become future leaders. So I have that list of topics here, actually. There were 2 topics in particular that I was very interested in. And so I sat in on those student groups, and we had some really great discussions around vaping and what steps could the district take to decrease vaping on school grounds, and also affordable housing, and what can cities do to increase affordable housing. So those are the 2, amongst, many topics, including social media and mental health and climate change and gangs and gang violence and civic education. There's a lot of really great ideas coming out of these student groups, these student forums. For example, when I asked them about vaping and how could we address this in our communities, they talked about, making sure that we had good mental health programs available so that they do learn coping strategies. That doesn't include a vape pen or a dab pen, and also making sure that there are activities available. For example, there were several teens that were part of youth groups, and so they had activities to keep them busy. And I realize our library has a teen advisory group, but we have the pinball arcade. I'm not sure if we can propose more, but I would like to look at this vaping question in the future. I would like to reach out to the Lions Middle High School and see how it's affecting their population. I'm more familiar with the Niwot High School population. I know that it's pretty rampant, and I definitely want to look into whether we need to ban flavored vaping products or not. Because I know that's the way Boulder went, and I also know that that is definitely the gateway for middle schoolers to access, and we're talking 5% nicotine. And it's been proven that once you start vaping, you have 3 times more chance of becoming a cigarette smoker, even if you were not a smoker in the beginning. So I feel like it's just too readily available, and I'm just looking at that question about what kind of steps could we take to decrease vaping amongst our youth. The other thing I didn't get a chance to, I don't know if now is the time because we're in a new board here. I was hoping to talk about accomplishments from the last 2 years, but now that feels like a previous board that I feel I should have shared the last time. So I can skip that. Thank you.
And thank you for going to Doing Democracy Day. It's a great event.
It is a really great event, and they have great ideas.
They do. Trustee Hammer.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, I have a couple things. Welcome to all y'all new and old new folks. And welcome back to those of you who made the questionable decision to stay. So a couple things. I attended the Boulder County Consortium of Cities meeting, which, if you don't know, is a consortium of Boulder County cities, representatives from all over Boulder County, and we take up a new topic every meeting. And so this time we got our yearly transportation tax update. And I have the slides from this meeting, so if anybody's interested, I'm happy to send them along. So a couple highlights, using the transportation tax that the voters approved, the county was able to leverage about $2.8 million into more than $80 million in funds that they used for a wide variety of transportation programming, including the St. Vrain Trail Extension, our Lions Flyer, and they had taxi vouchers in their report as two, which I guess is in conjunction with RTD.
That's understandable.
Yeah. So some planned projects over the next 15 years include 52 miles of regional trails and bikeways. And the Boulder Lions Bikeway feasibility study is underway, so that's happening. The master plan also includes a bikeway from Lions to Longmont. So these things are happening. They may not happen while I can still ride a bike, but this is what happened. Wheelchair, yeah, make a walker accessible. The other thing I want to make everybody aware of is that I'm speaking on a panel this Saturday, April 20th at 10 a.m. with a number of other elected officials for Colorado Common Cause, which is a nonpartisan organization that's dedicated to strengthening democracy through voter rights, public participation, transparency, and campaign finance reform. So it's, there's a number of great people, including Representative Mobley, Boulder County Clerk, and Michael Doherty, I think, is going to be on it, Mayor Brockett, the mayor of Lafayette, and some other folks. So that'll be interesting. It's free. It's at the Longmont campus of Front Range Community College. And the panel itself is going to focus on issues surrounding election misinformation and disinformation, voter protections, and how we can expand voter engagement and public participation. So I'll have some things to say. And as I mentioned, Dr. Cog is Wednesday evening in Denver. Anybody want to join me for the field trip?
You make it sound so
Let me
enticing.
know. It's fun.
Field trip.
It's a great group of people. It is a great group.
I'm sure it is. Maybe one of these Wednesdays I'll join.
Yeah, and thank you, Trustee Browning, for being my alternate. And that's it. Okay, summary of action items.
Okay, I've got, staff is to create a sign-up sheet for trustees to attend Mondays with the mayor. Staff's to draft a survey for the public on how they would like to be notified and communicated with. We're to present a draft communication plan on the May 6th Board of Trustees meeting minutes. And staff is to work with DOLA on the LOMA funding and Dr. Cog on extending the grant application for the SS4A grant. Did I miss anything?
Talking with the fire department about wildfire mitigation presentation and, you know, sooner than later. And then there's lots of things around this sidewalk potential and stormwater. I think that's mostly. Oh, recruit for HPC. And then the items that were asked to be added to the upcoming future agendas.
Okay, and the comms plan.
Oh, I already have that, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, thank you.
And the policies being part of the workshop or.
yeah, policy. Great, all right. Okay, then, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, I call the vote.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, everybody.
You.
Good night. Good night, Mayor Pro Tem. Hope you have a great talk tomorrow.
And ready to clap.
So I can look up.